Welcome back. We're stepping into the box today for another episode of Quick Pitch. Let's discuss the opening weekend of D1 softball.
Yeah, lots of upsets over the weekend. Um, but some key ones in particular. Let's just start off with the obvious Charlotte over Florida State on Friday.
What Florida State? What I feel like that that little like meme thing that was going around that's like Tennessee,
What
what
year?
happened? I think that's how I feel. Florida
Yeah,
State, what happened? What are we
yeah. Now, first game of the year, uh, I don't know if it was like, you know, first game jitters or I don't know, but I mean, it was the first game of the year. Charlotte gets the best of Florida State, but then Florida State turns around on Saturday and just dumps them.
Yeah, they
So
said this
they
is
got
never happening again.
Yeah, they got their payback, but nevertheless, an impressive win by Charlotte. Um, one of their biggest wins in program history. I think it's the first time that they had ever beaten a top five team in program history. So huge win for the Niners. Super exciting way to start the year. Love a good upset. Love an underdog story. Um, I'm a sucker for them. I don't know. That's probably why I'm a Miami Marlins fan because they suck.
Perhaps a Memphis fan. Except for the part where Memphis football did win ten games, so
Yeah, our football team's pretty decent. I don't know that they. I mean, we beat Mississippi State. That's not saying a whole lot, but it's an SEC team,
it's something.
so there's that. Um, and then Penn State, their biggest win since 2001, I think. Penn State goes out and
2021.
beats 2021.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
on still ended in a one.
not as long ago as I thought, but still huge win. They beat what was Arkansas ranked last week?
12, 12, 12.
Okay, so yeah, that Penn State coming out of nowhere. Nobody expected little old Penn State out of the Big Ten to come out and beat Arkansas. So really good win for the Nittany Lions. I mean they outside of Arkansas they didn't number 16. That's what it has on their schedule. Arkansas is ranked number 16.
They gypped them. Gypped them.
Um, but I mean outside of Arkansas they didn't play a super stiff schedule this past weekend. They played Marshall, beat them 5-2. They played Florida Atlantic, who we've talked about previously, is a pretty solid ball club.
Hmm.
Not like they don't belong in the top 25 by any means, but like they're still a competitive ball club. And then the Nittany Lions got past them, and then they take on Arkansas and beat them in a 3-2 ball game in extra innings in 8 innings. And then they played Ohio uh, once on Saturday and once on Sunday and beat them both games. So Penn State coming out of opening weekend 5-0, like a bunch of other teams, but I can tell you I didn't expect Penn State to be 5-0 to start the season.
I don't think a lot of people did.
Definitely didn't expect them to come anywhere close to beating Arkansas. So good for them. Um, and they'll go into this weekend with a little bit of the same as far as strength of schedule goes for the weekend. They'll play Kansas, UC Riverside, not not super tough teams, but They're going to face another 5-0 Coastal Carolina. They're
Hmm.
going to face Southern Illinois, whose freshman pitcher Matty Groff just threw a perfect game, and they're going to face Liberty, who went pretty far in regionals last year. So they have some stiff competition, but not they're not taking on top 25 opponents this weekend.
Right.
What else?
Mm. Let's see. You also have you also have Kentucky, who popped in and beat Stanford twice,
Twice.
2-1 and three to
The
two.
first the Yeah, the first time was with Nigel Kennedy pitching.
Who had
I don't,
who had a .5 ERA last year.
yeah, I don't know how they beat her, but especially like going into the season, pitchers always have the advantage. They're always better prepared at the start of the season than anybody else. And so how Kentucky got the best of Kennedy is beyond me, but I know Aaron Kofel had a lot to do with that.
Oh, for sure. And Kentucky should have started off their season undefeated, if we're being honest. I mean, maybe not should have, but coming off of 2 wins against Stanford, and then they turned around and lost to San Diego State 2-1.
Yeah, yeah. But San Diego State was a really good ball club last year, and they're ranked 25th this year going into the season. Not by every poll, but a handful of them.
Yeah.
So, whereas Kentucky was clearly underrated going into the season.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, not a bad loss to lose to San Diego State.
Not a
Yeah.
not bad. Yeah. Like I didn't mean it like it should have been expected that Kentucky was going to beat San Diego State. I'm just saying. I mean, even too after that, they had a close game with Minnesota.
Yeah. But I mean, here's my thing with Stanford. Stanford was overrated from the start.
True. I
Like
agree.
Najee Kennedy is extremely good. Taryn Kern is extremely good, but the rest of Stanford's offense was not very good last year. Stanford struggled to put up runs all year until they got to the postseason, and
Yeah.
they just got hot. So for everybody to be all the softball America, D1 softball, uh, NFCA coaches poll, USA softball, like they all held Stanford in such high regard just because Taryn Kern transferred there. And Najee Kennedy had a phenomenal year last year, which don't get me wrong, like it's well deserved to give Stanford their respect because of those two players, but those two players don't make up the team. You still have seven other people in the lineup at a minimum, probably
Right.
eight because you have a DP. So, what are the other seven or eight girls going to do?
They're just going to just hang out.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, they're good, right? They
Yeah,
have
but I
a
mean, if
gold
you only
glove behind
have
the plate.
yeah, but if you only have one, I mean, they obviously have more than one, but one really, really strong offensive bat in your lineup, she can only hit one out of maybe 10 times, probably 9 times.
It's just you don't have to pitch to Taryn Kern.
Yeah, because you don't pitch to her and then you literally force the rest of the team. Mm,
Yeah. Taryn Kern was in a really good spot last year because she had people around her. She had girls around her that could hit.
yeah,
That's not necessarily the same case with Stanford.
it's like flip-flopped. Indiana couldn't really pitch.
Yeah. Like
Stanford's got the pitching.
which Which if we're being honest, Indiana must have picked up a pitcher or two after beating Oregon this past weekend too.
It's something right.
Upset upset number five, I guess you could say. But but yeah, I mean, if you're anybody going up against Stanford, it's not going to hurt you with nobody on base. Be like, yeah, let's just put Taryn Kern on. Sure, she'll swipe second, swipe third, but nobody's going to drive her in.
I was about to say, but what's it matter if you can't push her the over
Yeah,
60 feet?
like
You can't steal home.
as as long as long as we keep the ball off the backstop,
Yeah.
which with Ali Kaneshiro behind the plate, they probably will, seeing as how she's a Gold Glover. So, but well, I
Mm.
just completely flip flopped that in my head anyway. That was all wrong because
I
Ali
was,
Kaneshiro would
I
not
was
be
gonna let
behind the
you,
plate for
I was
anybody
gonna let you
against
figure
them.
it out. Because I
Oh,
surely was about to be like, well, I mean, Najee Kennedy doesn't miss the glove very often. But then I was like, wait a second. That would make
yeah,
sense. They'd be playing against themselves.
yeah. Oh, man. Sometimes we're smart. Other times,
Not so much.
not so much. Just getting lost in the sauce.
Win some, lose most.
Oh, man. But yeah, Kentucky goes into this weekend. Uh, they go down to
Ooh,
Clearwater. They got North Carolina, Wisconsin. Washington's going to be a tough one. UCF will be a tough one. And Texas will definitely be a tough one because Texas is hot, boy.
yeah, they are. That's that's when I first looked at it, I was like, okay, North Carolina, Wisconsin. Those bottom three aren't so. That Texas
Yeah,
game is gonna be a freaking doozy.
yeah. Kentucky's going to have to strap their belts on tight because North Carolina ain't no, they're not scrubs. Like they're pretty solid. Wisconsin's in the same boat, but Washington about beat Oklahoma,
Yeah, would have loved to see it,
and
honestly.
yeah, and UCF is really stout too. But that Saturday, 7 p.m. game against Texas, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Oh man.
If I'm a Wildcat, I'm lacing up the old spikes real tight for that one.
That's after a long day too.
Yeah.
9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., all the way to
Well,
7.
that 9:30 game is a Friday game.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes it better then.
Yeah. Three games in
Gosh.
one day. It's
I thought that's what they did to
that's.
him. I was like, that's just whack
I
at
mean
this
that
point.
that's what we do to kids, but like college athletes, no way, Jose.
They'd be showing up to the field in the ice packs from the last game. Not good yet. Y'all gotta give me 15 minutes.
Oh man. I mean, speaking of Texas, like they had they had two upsets in their own right. Where they stole a game from UCLA to start with, and then they just absolutely murdered them the second time.
Then they just owned the next game.
Yeah. Stole the first game from the Bruins and then said, you know what? We didn't really show you what we could do, and proceeded to hit multiple grand slams against UCLA the second time.
That's oh my God.
To say Texas is hot is an understatement.
No, they came out ready to go.
Yeah. They got Mac Morgan back, who's still just as good as ever. Um, They still have a still check. They got Silali Gutierrez, who's
Gootery.
also another one that's really good in the circle. And then they also got freshman Tegan Caven, who's she was dealing this weekend too. So Texas in a real good spot. Real good spot. And another upset, or I guess the last one we're really going to touch on, Mizzou, who nobody was really looking at too hard, comes
Nope.
out, takes a game over Clemson. Surprise, surprise, USA Collegiate Softball Player of the Year. Not enough to beat the Mizzou Tigers.
I don't think anybody really expected Missouri to come out and be 5-0 after opening weekend. I mean, they
No.
freaking smoked Liberty. Liberty's a pretty good ball team.
Yeah. I mean, I will say Mizzou outside of last year, Mizzou's been pretty good.
Yeah. They just had an
So I
off
don't know.
off year last year.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last year, but I don't think this year they're going to let last year happen.
No. No.
Um, I know they picked up some pretty solid freshmen, and they still have Alex Honnold in the outfield for him. Uh, yeah, I think Mizzou and Kentucky teams who weren't really in the hunt in the SEC last year, they're not going to let that happen again this year. Uh,
But here's the thing though. Missouri came out, played Utah, beat Utah. Obviously they went 5-0. So obviously they beat everybody I'm about to say. Utah, NC State, Liberty, South Alabama, Clemson. Okay. But then they turn around next weekend and play Texas A&M Commerce, South Dakota State twice, North Texas twice, which North Texas is pretty good. And then they turn around and play San Diego State, good ball club, Wisconsin, pretty decent, UCF, good ball club, Cal State Fullerton, and then Baylor. Their schedule to me, compared to other ones, I guess like compared to Kentucky, Kentucky's going and just taking a beating of a schedule next weekend. Like, I ain't nothing against who Missouri's about to play, but Texas A&M Commerce and South Dakota State in comparison to Washington, UCF, and Texas, no.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
Kentucky's definitely got their work cut out for them this weekend, but Mizzou can't take everybody lightly, though. I mean,
Right.
this is one of those games where anybody can win on any given day. It's not
It's the
like
best part of
football
it.
where you have to be, yeah, it's not like football where you have to, the more physical team wins.
Well, the more
It's a
physical
little,
team here just gets in trouble. So,
yeah, Cal,
oh,
looking at you, trying to fight everyone down in freaking Louisiana. They
uh,
came back and won that game too.
oh,
They
that's no
won
fun.
3-1.
That's no
Yeah,
fun.
another upset. They upset Louisiana.
Mm.
But yeah, so outside of these upsets, we move into perfect games. Three perfect games in one weekend. In one weekend, anyway, is ridiculous. But in opening weekend,
Even more
like,
ridiculous.
yeah, you got a perfect game by who we talked about earlier, Maddie Groff. And her perfect game is even more insane because she threw it to her twin sister, Rylan Groff, both of which are freshmen at Southern Illinois.
Man, I bet their parents were just ecstatic,
Dude,
bouncing
if I
off
was
the
a dad, I
walls.
would have been like jumping up and down the stands, boohoo crying, screaming my head off all at the same time.
That's my kid. Those
I
are
would have
my
been
kids.
I'd have been a nervous wreck the whole game until it was finally over.
Oh, you know when people are like you know that you're on track for a perfect game, but obviously you don't want to think about it. So fifth inning, I know for a fact her hands were so sweaty. She's just standing up there just shaking the whole time. At least I would be. Maybe she was
That's
cool, calm, and collected. Not me. I would have been brown and brown.
then brown in your trousers.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Oh man.
Oh,
Whew.
yeah. I mean that for not only was Maddie Agroff a freshman who threw a perfect game to her twin sister, Rylan Groff, who was obviously another freshman catching, but is also the first perfect game ever in Southern Illinois program history. Does
It's
that
one
mean
easy
that
way to
Southern
get your way
Illinois is
into the
like,
record books.
yeah, immediately
Yeah,
college
just
collegiate debut, record books. That's what I'm here for. I
oh
mean,
man.
you get the hat trick. That's three things, right? So Southern Illinois is clearly destined to go to the College World Series this year, right?
Careful.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Mhm. Well, I think we might just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah. Then we get Olivia Wilkin from North Alabama, who also throws a perfect game against Samford in her North Alabama debut. Olivia Wilkin, not a freshman though. She's a junior who transferred from Wallace State Community College.
Hey, Wallace State Community College puts out some players.
Yeah, studs for sure. Um, and then we have another Olivia Miller, freshman for Florida, who throws a perfect game against Bethune Cookman. First freshman to do so in Florida's program history.
That's crazy that all three perfect games were these women.
Newcomers,
Yes.
well, they wouldn't be men.
What these women sounded weird in my head.
Yeah, but
It sounds weird out loud.
because it is, because they're all women.
I don't teach English, so
We're talking about softball.
well, but
They're all women.
but the sentence I was gonna say would have required the word these. These.
Anyway, yeah, all newcomers are where these perfect games came from. Which, yeah, that is crazy. Um, had a ton of no hitters as well. One of which
Yeah.
came from Alabama, Roll Tide Roll. Caleb Beaver's newcomer debut for
That's
Alabama,
weird.
in which a triple play was turned to end the game.
Oh, is that the same game?
Yeah.
Oh man, that sucks so bad.
So Alabama plays Georgia Tech. Caleb Beaver pitches. She throws a no hitter. Somehow Georgia Tech ends up with bases loaded. I'm pretty sure it's the same game. Maybe I'm crazy. But anyway,
One of the games that they played Georgia Tech.
Caleb Beaver threw a no hitter. Alabama, if it wasn't the same game, then Alabama also turned a triple play to end the ball game and win it. So Georgia Tech comes up with bases loaded. If they hit a grand slam, then they win the game. Off the bat, looks like they're going to do that.
Right
No,
fielder says, no, 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 no.
yeah, we're gonna bring this ball back, caught, throw to second, out
Look
number
around,
two.
figure out who's missing.
Yeah, throw it to third, out number three, ball game. Wild stuff.
Not to mention the girl playing right, who caught the ball for Alabama, had just been put in the game the previous inning just as a pinch runner. Patrick Murphy was just, yeah, we'll leave her out there, see what she can do. No grand salami against me. That's what she said. She said,
Yeah.
I'm not letting that happen.
All right.
Oh,
So now there's two freshmen I want to talk about, and they happen to play for Florida, who we've already talked about, but Florida's just exciting, and I think they're going to be really dang good this year.
I can't wait to
So,
watch them climb the poles.
yeah, they're going to be. I think they're going to be in the top 10 before
Wait,
we get halfway through March.
it's a good prediction.
Uh, yeah, Ava Brown, she made her collegiate debut in game one, and she's been pitching and hitting. Right. On the weekend, she threw 8 innings. She came out of the weekend 2-0 with a 0 ERA, and she's also batting 308 to hit her first home run. And then you have Keegan Rothrock, who is just pitching for the Gators, and she's their pitcher.
Yeah, no doubt.
Keegan Rothrock is Florida's ace as a freshman, which is insane. But she's thrown 19 innings already this year, and she's 1-1. She got the one loss that Florida has to Michigan, which it was a really close ball game, but her ERA is still .74. She's only given up 2 earned runs through 3 games. But they got
And
another
she's already
freshman in Ariel Kowalewski who's batting 400. She's got her first home run. And we can't mention Florida and like go down their roster without touching on Corby Otis, who just transferred to Florida. She's batting 308. She has her first home run as a Gator. And then, of course, Skylar Wallace, who
like you
hit an
can't not talk
absolute
about her.
moonshot. Skylar Wallace has batting 500 on the year with 2 home runs. She's got a moonshot to right and a Oppo Taco to left.
Moonshot literally looked like if you took a cannon and just shot a cannonball out of it, just aimed it up at the sky.
Yeah, she hit that ball a mile. I don't even know if it landed yet. Skylar Wallace is
Insane.
also 4 for 4 in stolen bases. She'd probably
Four
have
for
30
four.
stolen bases again this year.
I mean, she's on track to just be stellar. Just be Skylar Wallace. Just be too good for everybody else.
I put her moonshot in our story, and I just put Skylar Wallace doing Skylar Wallace things.
Because what else are you supposed to say? Like,
Right.
it's just ridiculous. It's so good. Florida's going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. I'm really excited to see the Gators climb the rankings, like you were saying. Something that I'm not super excited about is Virginia Tech. Well, I'm excited about Virginia Tech. I think they're going to be really good this year, even better than what they were last year. But they got freaking hosed against Auburn that second game. Bree Peck hits a go-ahead grand slam, puts them up 9-5 in the top of the seventh. And then the umpires all of a sudden want to call freaking weather delay because Auburn's coach was just yap, 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 yap. And then they just cancel the game altogether. And so the game ends in a tie. So Bree Peck's Grand Slam doesn't even count.
I would be so mad. One, if I was a player on Auburn. Two, if I was Bree Peck. And three, if I was a true Auburn. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so Virginia Tech comes out of the weekend 4-0-1.
No,
Just
that's terrible. One.
like we couldn't just finish the seventh inning the next day. I get it. There's like itineraries and stuff that have to be followed, and I get all that. But like, or we can just finish the inning.
Right.
Like you let her hit a grand slam. You
Then
might
you're
as well
like,
just finish the inning.
ah,
Yeah, that's some home cooking umpiring if I've ever seen it. Um, but the last item on my list is Oklahoma. Oklahoma's what are they? 4-0, 5-0? I think they're 4-0.
5-4.
They're 4-0 coming out of the weekend. But they played some close ball games over the weekend. And I'm wondering, is this the year? Is this the year they get beat?
Time will tell. My guess, yes. My hope, I should say. And my guess.
I don't want to say I hope they get beat, but like,
I mean, I don't hope they get beat like 10 times. All I'm asking for is like 3 losses. That's so much to
no,
ask for.
I need some normalcy. I need to bring them back down to earth. I need like a good 10 to 12 losses. So the College World Series is a little less lopsided.
Ridiculous. I
But all right. I think that does it for this episode.
think so.